Andy says Patrick's good to go, and that's all I need. I don't know what you guys want, but it is time to get down to your questions tonight, all about this matchup, Chiefs versus Bengals. They made a move today, too. We'll talk about that. We're going to get to everything, but this is what it comes down to. 70%, 80%. What can they get from Patrick Mahomes, and how can the rest of the team make up that difference? Tonight on RGR Football, welcome. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is RGR, and this is where we answer your questions. This is your show tonight. It is Q&A the whole time. If you want to get in on the action, send us a super chat. Send us a question with a question mark at the beginning, and we will get into it. Quick update from today. Andy got on with the beat reporters and let us know it is a high ankle sprain. The MRI is clean, but he also made a little tweak that I'm going to talk about in a member video tomorrow. So check that out. They're not giving anything away. They never give the whole cart away. They'll tell you what the horse looks like. They'll tell you what the wheels look like. But long story short, they're confident in Patrick being able to play. I never doubted that. Did you?
Not really. I think the fact that he played through on Saturday when it would have been worse off, I mean, some adrenaline helps, and when your first injury, stuff like that, you don't have any rest, you can do some other stuff. But I mean, I know that he specifically has said that he will play Mahomes, like he said that he will, but Andy will be like, well, we'll see. That's always how they have to hold it out, because they can't just ever confirm, especially with the gamesmanship of a playoff game looming on Sunday. You don't, even if the other team knows that he's going to play, and he's not going to be like, yeah, he'll play. Like, he's just not going to say it. It's just not his style.
Well, and it keeps everybody thinking over there too. Can he really pull it off? Is it really going to happen? We'll find out. We should know more tomorrow on McCole and any of the other injuries as well. The other big thing that they did today is they let Chris Lamons go. Couple of theories behind that. They haven't said specifically. Two things. Either it's because they got to make room for somebody they want to bring back, and they figure nobody's going to pick him up, and they can put him back on the practice squad and elevate him without a problem. So you basically get 2 players for 1 in that scenario. Or there's something going on with his court cases, off the field stuff that they just feel they need to separate. Not a great time if that's the case, but they do have Marcus Kemp that can step up and fill that key role. I feel okay about that. You?
Yeah, it's, with the way the special teams has been, I'm hoping it's because they assume that he can sneak through, and just be there for elevation on Sunday, because he is a key special teams player. And knowing that your special teams have been awful, maybe not the best time to cut loose with one of your best special teams guys, unless outside factors are pressing on the situation.
I always talk about making a strength stronger, right? Let's not make a weakness weaker.
Yeah, right? No thanks.
Let's avoid that. Chris Commons, welcome to the membership. Appreciate you. I don't know which level you joined at yet, but when you do, if it's at the rookie, all you got to do is go to the Discord that I'll put up here as well. And you can tie in your YouTube membership, put it into your profile on your Discord, and then boom, you're in like Flynn. Super easy, nice and simple. I just got to get you the link, which is right here. It is bit.ly/RGR Nation. That gets you in. And that goes for anybody else who wants to join tonight or any other time here at the rookie level or above. So check it. Some cool stuff in there. Now, Mikey had, what's your current trust level in the secondary? P.S. You guys keep it up. Thank you, buddy. We definitely will. You start, Dan. Like, what's your confidence here?
I feel pretty confident in the secondary. I think they played well against the Bengals the first time around. I don't think they got, beat up deep down the field, which is what they needed to do. They tried to force everything into the middle of the field and rally and tackle. Couldn't tackle. So you end up losing that game because you couldn't stop them offensively. But it wasn't because your corners were playing poorly. They weren't getting beat all over the field. So I have trust in them. I think that Spags is growing trust in Brian Cook, which helps the entire secondary too, as well as the linebacker level and coverage. So I feel on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 7. And that's for a lot of young guys. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, that's great. I like that you mentioned Cook, because he's a guy for me too that I think can play a significant role in this one. Because if you do feel that you need to get more guys involved to pressure, we've seen Spags. He loves the DB blitz. We all know that. They did pretty good against it last time. It was certainly not something that turned the tide of that ball game. So I'd like to see them adopt a little bit more of a zone blitz look. because those big receivers are great physical and sitting down, but you have an X factor in Brian Cook that I think he can go up against any of those guys physically. And if you set him up and they want to try to just dump it into zones in there, he will come downhill and blast someone. And I think that can be a significant confidence shaker for the Bengals if Cook can be more like what he was at Cincinnati.
Yeah, they have to. I think that they have to jar some balls loose. Maybe, think they can get some incompletions, not because they're bad throws, but because they were timed right. They timed some impacts downhill or some hands in the way a little bit. So I think that'd make a lot of sense for them, and it hopefully give them a huge confidence boost as well.
Yeah. Paul, are in-game steroid injections helpful for high ankle sprains? They can be. Like any kind of cortical steroid will reduce inflammation. It will help you like not have all the internal compression effects kind of blow up. And anytime you're talking about the lower leg compression, everything's kind of packed tightly into sleeves. Like when you guys take off the silverback off of your ribs, right? There's all that stuff in your lower leg too. And so when you get any kind of swelling, it all compresses and it creates pain. It creates issues with nerve control, all kinds of stuff there. So sometimes that can help. I think in the end, it's about pain control because you should be able to reduce that swelling pretty significantly through this week. I'm really interested to see like what kind of snap count he is in practice, especially Wednesday. And if they feel he's doing well and we see him practice and take a lot of snaps on Wednesday, that means they've got that completely under control and they're comfortable with it. So that will be a better sign, Paul. Let's see. Tone, if you had to guess, is McCole playing Sunday? What do you think, Dan?
If I guessed, I would say yes. This is the biggest game of the season, and it's the rematch. I think that's what this was for. I think that they wanted to hopefully have him fully healthy. Obviously, we'll see. I thought last week he'd play. He ends up having a setback throughout the week and then not being able to play. So we'll see. But I would guess right now that he plays.
Okay. I can get behind that. I kind of dig it. I hope that just brings that another X factor because I see a lot of people running down Sky's yak ability this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's wrong. I do agree that maybe he hasn't turned into the jet sweep monster you wanted. Turning the corner might be a little bit more difficult for him than it is for Tony, clearly. Tony's got elite change of direction skills, just like Tyreek had. But for me, what I saw on film for Sky Moore in college was yak in a vertical direction. You got to get him on the slants. You got to get him on the drags and let him turn it there. Like, I think that's part of what's been missing from the way that they've been utilizing him. Do you see something different?
No, he's a better tackle breaker. He's not someone who's going to turn from going horizontally to being able to flip vertically. He's not that kind of an athlete. It's not what he was able to do well. He's better in already moving situations. So if you can get him in some space, he can make some things work. But if he has to go around blocks and he has to turn upfield, he's done it from time to time, but he's not that stop, start, and then go athlete. Like he can stop, he can start, but he can't go after that. The reacceleration isn't there. He's much better at breaking tackles and grinding through tackles in space and down the field in those short to intermediate areas, not so much behind the line.
Where would you rank the Bengals defense? Against the Chiefs, I put them towards the top 5. They're not that against the league, but this matchup is just what it is. They out-physical them. I think they're a little bit bullyish, and I think they're better against the Chiefs than anybody else in the league. Yeah,
but in the AFC, they might be like top 3 in the AFC.
Yeah,
they are that good in my opinion. So it's going to be a fun matchup.
I certainly am looking forward to it because I think there's enough there that you just have to recognize and admit your own faults. If you're Andy Reid, you got to help Orlando. Hendrickson has had his big plays against Orlando, and maybe Orlando's played well at times, maybe not at others. You got to help him. I know you don't want to, but you got to, especially with the injury to Mahomes. I just think there's no way around it. If you were stubborn, you're going to get yourself and Patrick bit.
Yep.
Would it be, Christo, thank you. Would it be a bad idea to have McDuffie on Chase a lot? He did a good job the first time, and we also saw Sauce lock Chase up. Yeah, I mean, Sauce is unique. I don't want to compare McDuffie to him. He is not as twitchy as Sauce is. That is part of how well the acceleration comes for Chase as well. I'm okay whenever it happens. I don't know that I want to go like make McDuffie follow him. Do you?
I don't think you'll see that. I think you'll see L'Jarius Sneed on Chase. I think they're going to go back to that. The reason that Sneed was in the slot, again, the majority of his snaps, I think it was like 43 or something against the Jags, is because their best receiver is Christian Kirk. the best receiver, Jamar Chase. And I think you're going to see L'Jarius Sneed follow him around in this game and play on the outside more and have Trent McDuffie in the slot.
Okay. I can get down with that. I also want to bring up too that this might be the Joshua Williams revenge game. I mean, it was one of his worst games of the season, and I feel that he has grown since then. Obviously, Jalen's played over him a lot then, so I think it's given him that kind of breath that some rookies really need in their rookie season to really like, okay, that's how it all works when I don't have all the pressure on me. And so I even look for Joshua to play better this game than last.
I wonder who's going to end up playing more, because I'm pretty sure Jalen Watson played more last week, but
did he?
I don't know. I don't. That was just based off feeling. I haven't checked those numbers, but it feels like that. I also have a hard time keeping track of who's playing during the game because they do switch out so often. So I'm just like,
which one? If everybody would not have a 3 on their jersey, please. That would help me. Here, I will go check that actually while you enter Steve's thing here.
I appreciate the question, Steve. What player in this upcoming draft might the Chiefs look at as a punt return or a kickoff returner? Well, there's a lot of fun specialists in this class. I haven't done a fair amount. There's, I believe, a wide receiver out of Iowa State, Hutchinson, if I'm not mistaken, is somebody that the Chiefs might look at as a returner. They also still have Smith Marset on the practice squad, who they could be looking to have to be a punt returner, kick returner next year. He did that in Minnesota. He did that at Iowa. He's someone who has that skill set to him already. So they might not look to someone in the draft to do it, but I think that Smith Marset might be someone they're trying to get to do next year when Kadarius Toney maybe plays more as a wide receiver.
I can dig that. We are both seeing things when it comes to Joshua Williams. He played 3 coverage snaps.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought Jalen Watson played more. I thought he played more. Okay.
Like 36-3. Like that's on me, folks.
That's what I
thought it was a lot closer than that.
No.
Nice thing though, as we were talking about before, Brian was in on 15 passes and in coverage for 15 of them. So I think we're looking good there. Cook was targeted once and didn't give up that one, so that's a plus. KC, hope you're well. Yeah, if you looked at the season as a whole, what's one of the glaring weaknesses that should come back to bite the Chiefs in the upcoming game? It's just the ability not to run for power, whether it's on first down or 3rd and goal, 3rd and short. Like, it's just the ability that I don't think they're setting up Pacheco to win. And I don't think when it comes to this kind of game against a physical team like this, that they've helped themselves get prepared for it.
I think it's a defensive mentality. They don't seem to be like that game against Tennessee with the first time they played in the postseason to stop Derrick Henry. That game they played physically. Like they brought the lumber. They were hitting people. They were trying to stop it. The reason that the Baltimore Ravens gave the Bengals so much trouble is because they were physical. They played physical. They played downhill. They got in the face of the Bengals and they made it tough on them. If you don't play physically against the offensive line, against the secondary, against the wide receivers, against Hayden Hurst, against the running backs, they're going to eat you up. They're going to do it, and they're going to get first downs, and they're going to keep running first downs. Samaje Perine went over 100. Samaje Perine went over 100 yards against them. I like Samaje, but he shouldn't be doing that. He shouldn't.
Yeah,
but they just ran over the defense. You can't allow them to out physical you. If the Bengals out physical this team, I don't know what they can do defensively. I don't. I'll be very honest about that.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to both sides of the fronts. If they're going to be more physical on both, they win, period. That's what it comes down to. I don't see them being able to overcome that. Maybe if Patrick were 100%, they could still overcome that. But without it, I just don't see it. So that becomes uber important to me. Let's see, setting up a few more of the next ones here. And okay, here we go. So Tyler, is there anything specific you saw against the Jags did to take away Juju and MVS were quiet, other than the game three plays? I just felt like, again, it wasn't an all-out attack. I felt it was more about the Chiefs throttling what they did in their passing concepts than what the Jags did took them away. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic.
Travis Kelce had 17 targets. This was not a. This was very obvious, in my opinion. They saw a weakness, and they were like, "We're going to attack, attack, and attack." They ran the ball effectively with Isaiah Pacheco. They attacked the weakness, the glaring weakness in coverage of the linebackers of the Jags. That's what they did. And then when Mahomes needed a play for Juju, okay, he sees man coverage. Okay, I attack it. I went ahead and I made a back shoulder throw or an underthrown ball, let Juju adjust to it. And then the touchdown to MVS, he beat Campbell. He just beat him. Straight out beat him. He just stemmed outside. As soon as Campbell went outside, he just cuts in. It was just those little tiny things. And honestly, I thought a better placed ball on the pick play of Juju Smith-Schuster, which was a whole other thing. I don't. He's literally looking for the football. You shouldn't be calling a pick play there, but
right.
that's beyond the point. I think a better thrown ball is a big play because that he was in between, just a little bit over out in front of him. He probably catches it, but this wasn't a game dialed up for Juju Smith-Schuster and MBS. This was a hey Travis, make them pay type of game, and they did. He did.
Okay. I mean, he had Devin Lloyd and he had Chad Moon out there a lot. I mean, two rookies trying to guard Travis Kelce, and they started with Rayshon Jenkins. I think they should have stuck with that because they backed out of it, and Rayshon I don't think was going to fare any better at the end of the day. But he is quicker. He would have gotten, I think, a couple more denied passes out of that than what was it? 14 receptions on 17 targets. Good Lord. I mean, he is elite, but dang. I hope we get Juju more looks. Absolutely. And do you think that'll lead to double moves against Apple like D-Rob did? I mean, D-Rob's a double move connoisseur. That's what he does. It might be all that he does, but that's what he does. But I think it is based on the film. I don't know that you're going to get as much just by drawing attention in the middle of the field to get the corners from the Bengals to bite. It's got to be more significant than that, particularly from MVS. He's got to throttle down and throttle up in order to get doubles to bite. Unlike D-Rob, who's much smoother through that transition and can still get away from people. Now, Juju, on the other hand, I think he's got to come out and be the warrior. I think he's got to be that built big receiver that he can be. And again, bring the physicality to the defense.
Yeah, he's looked a little bit slower since the injuries have crept up. And I don't know if he's fully healthy, what's going on there, but he hasn't looked the same that he did before all those. So, I'm just hoping that, honestly, if you can find some man coverage, get him in some man coverage looks one-on-one, take some back shoulder throws, let him work that part of the field, that might be his best bet into contributing this offense. And they were taking deep shots against this defense last time around with MVS. They got a couple all-out blitzes and identified some one-on-ones to MVS. They might do the same thing because Patrick Mahomes is hobbled. You might see a couple of them.
Preview the game plan on Friday, folks.
All I'm saying, you might see MVS take some balls down the field. All I'm saying.
I literally have a clip ready for Friday, and I might do something before that because that's exactly it. There's blood in the water. You saw the Jags do it too. When you have a quarterback that is less mobile, when Henny came in, they decided to blitz him. The Bengals already thought that they could blitz Mahomes last time he completed a nice, what was that? I think it was cover 2 that MVS split, and he just put it right on the dime where he needed to be. And that was out of a pressure situation, like you said, but it was also that he stayed in the pocket. He climbed the pocket and delivered the ball, and he didn't have to break. That's the big difference. And so, yes, there's a theme coming. You're going to hear us talk about that on Friday. Well done. Foreshadowing at its best, Dan. I love that.
Do what I can.
But Oregon, yes, there's already a contingency plan in place. How do you support Chad Henne if he does have to go back in there? Because let's be honest, even if Patrick is 80%, another hit to the lower leg is going to knock him out, at least for a while. So you have to have that contingency in place. I think part of this Le Mans move is probably related to that. I think they probably do want to have 3 quarterbacks dress. So Michelle, in case you have to get Henne in, Lord knows one big hit from him, and that's probably a 3rd quarterback situation. You don't want Travis throwing the ball. I'm sorry, Travis. I know you want to, but no, you cannot throw the ball.
No, they can't have that. They can't have it.
So, yeah, I do think they have that. And it could also be that spot is also what's facilitating CEH back. And I know everybody doesn't want to see CEH. That's okay. You got to have 3 backs you can trust. I don't care whether it's Rojo, whether it's CEH, whatever the staff feels is their best thing. You got to have 3 of them. You got to be able to sustain injury in this ball game. We don't know what the weather's going to be yet. Yeah. So you got to have all your bases covered. What do the Chiefs need to do to end the slide, Dan? Just bottom line it for me.
Okay. So this is going to be very simple. Tackle. Okay? That's it. I give you one word, Sean. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to just say one word. In that game against the Bengals the first time around, if they tackle, they win the game. You can't convince me. I know that Travis Kelce fumbled, and that changed the dynamic of the game because they were going to score. I have no doubt in my mind. If they tackle, they're not in the game right there. Like, it's not a one score. They take the lead on the next drive. I think the Chiefs win that game if they tackle. I think they'll win this game if they tackle on defense.
Okay. Fundamental football. Throw it where they ain't. Tackle. Run the ball. It ain't that hard. Bandwagon, hope you're doing well. Thanks for the support, buddy. I have some fun with this one. Hypothetically, if you had to choose between McKinnon's absolute crushing blocks and Pacheco's tenacity running the ball, which do you choose? I'll let you start.
This is not shade, everybody, because I know I'm going to get some comments on it.
Never mind. I'm going to start.
I'll take Jerick McKinnon's blocking ability. I will.
At the end of the day, QB1, not only for this year in this league, but maybe for a generation. Anything you can do to protect him has to take precedence for me. I love what Pacheco's done. Running backs are a dime a dozen. Let's be real. Protecting QB1 is utmost.
You might not see Pacheco play any passing snaps in this game. I mean, I think you'll have to keep them honest, but there's a very real possibility McKinnon has to play the large chunk of this game because of his blocking ability. My dog agrees.
I'm with her. And that's going to tie into this next one, too, that Adam's talking about, is could we see shotgun the whole game? And that ties into the running ability. You can't. You have to keep them honest. If you're in shotgun the entire time, not going to happen. You will get too much of what they want to do against you because you just can't threaten them as well with anything power, anything that they have to anchor down for it and really maintain their strength posture rather than a speed posture. And so for me, I think there's also this aspect that I don't think Patrick wants to limit his play call either. Mm-hmm. So I don't care if he's got a brace on or if he's got a bionic leg. I don't think he will allow himself to just sit back there the whole time because that's a flashback to college that he don't want to see.
No, it's not helpful for anybody. It's not helpful for the team. It's not helpful for him. If he can do it, he'll do it.
Did you see that we had Orlando Brown Jr. on a field goal block? Why take that risk? I have absolutely no idea. I did not see that. Why would you have him on field goal block?
I don't know.
Well, there's only one good reason. It is because of length. But yeah, you're it's a significant risk to take. That might give you a subliminal message about what they think about value going forward. I don't know how else to read that, to tell you the truth. Great pod. Thank you, Micah. Appreciate you. As always, one of the OGs around here. Nice to see you. Do you think that Pat will look like he did in 2019 when he had the high ankle sprain? Is it the same ankle? It is not the same ankle. It's his drive foot, his right side. It was the left previously. And so he was able to obviously drive through his hips, and it was the follow through that was the problem then. Now that's not the case. But I will say this, and this feeds back into all the BS that we heard the whole preseason about this is a rebuilding year. The Chiefs won't be the same without Tyreek. Okay. There was one player that Patrick had to throw the ball 60 or 70 yards for, right? His name was Tyreek Hill. He doesn't need to do that now. He doesn't have that kind of downfield speed. Even with McCole, I don't think that he attempts a pass over 50 yards. Patrick could throw a 50-yard ball with just his arm.
Yeah, he's done it. He's done it before. We've seen it happen a bunch of times. So I'm not too worried about that. I don't think it's going to be the same. It's going to be a whole different game plan. It's going to be a whole different game plan. Also, way better defense. It's not going to look anywhere close to that. I can promise you that.
Agreed. And I will say this. And so for Andy, for Mike Burton, anybody who might be listening, can we finally just get the pitch game going? Because Patrick doesn't have to stretch for that. He can plant and pitch. It will eat up this defense on the edges. And I'm telling you, I've been talking about this all season. Go ahead.
They did it twice.
I know.
They did it twice.
It was just a taste. Just to make me happy. I'm sure of it. And he was just making me happy. He's got to go back and double down on it. It will protect Mahomes, though. It's obviously an inherently more risky running play. because if there is a bobble, that's a turnover. But I think you got to do it. Get to the edges. With Mahomes hurt, should Reed rely on the run game and Pacheco more? Anthony, I mean, yes, the question is to what degree. You got to do more to protect him. I hope, like Dan said last night, Dan, what's the formula for maximizing Pacheco in this game?
Power run game. Okay.
There we go.
Isaiah Pacheco, for all of everything that he is, he doesn't process zone very well. I've already counted at least 2 or 3 zone runs from early in the game where he missed carrying or pulling in a defender and getting to a cutback lane or pushing it outside and him just taking what was there 3 or 2 or 3 yards. Zone, power. Oh man, get this dude in space and he can wiggle around a little bit. He can move. He can get his explosiveness moving, and that's what they have to do more, in my opinion.
I'm totally with you, 100%. And I personally want to see that. Bengals have a short window to win with all their rookie contracts. They'll fade out in the next few years. Fade out? No. I mean, the cap's creative. Anybody can make some kind of moves. Does it become more difficult with guys like Higgins and Chase? I think positionally you might see a weakening. They might have to let somebody go at a position, that one in particular. But the rookie contracts are there to be amended. They continue to draft decently, and I think as long as you can restock, you're going to see them take a mode that the Chiefs have had here. The question is going to be, can they really pull it off? The Chiefs have gone back-to-back with churn on the roster, and now we're back in the AFC Championship game again in a rebuild year. Can they be that good? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's what it comes down to, because I think the Bengals, one, they drafted all those receivers. They drafted Boyd, they drafted Chase, they drafted Higgins. They did. So that it's not – this wasn't a mistake. They didn't luck into this. This wasn't like someone that they brought in off a practice squad, or they just brought in. They drafted all of them. They evaluated them, and they did it all properly. So we're gonna see again. Contracts can be backloaded. You can get creative. We've seen that. So I'm not gonna say they're gonna fade out, especially because they don't have like a ton of elite defenders on that defense. They have a lot of really good players, and they're coached really well. And you can replicate that process.
Yeah, and you have to. I mean, everybody should be aiming at what the Chiefs front office does to get them to this point. Now, the hard part is nobody is Brett Veach, and not that Brett Veach is I think he's very good. I can't say that he's elite. It is partially that he's paired with his mentor in Andy Reid as well. It is that synergy between the two that not every team can even foster, let alone fulfill. So it does make things a lot harder. Let's see here. Have we cleaned up the mistakes that we made to lose the last 3? Won't know until this week, because quite frankly, you can clean it up against everybody else. It's about playing that team with that personnel in that atmosphere. I think they were on the verge of winning last time. I think Dan agrees with that. Avery seems to agree with that. So we're just waiting for the proof. Bengals fans are going to tell you it ain't ever going to happen. I'm going to tell you it is. That's really what it comes down to. Kadarius Burner, welcome back, Burner. 4th time's the charm. Okay, so tired of losing the Bengals. We need to win. We should also be grateful for butt kicker Brett Maher as well. Hey, you got to take the ups and the downs. I think Harrison proved that the foretold failure of his demise was incorrect. Let's just hope that the rest of the coverage teams can pick up their pace this week.
Need a big one from Dave Tobin, special teams. Gotta have it. You can't have the mistakes that they've seen. You just can't.
I agree. Teddy, thank you for this one. Should tight end be a priority in the draft instead of wide receiver? What is your opinion on Dalton Kincaid, Dan?
This is a really good tight end group. And Kincaid's out of Utah, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. The dude's a target monster in Utah, but he's also the best player on that offense. So there's a reason that he gets targeted a ton. It's hard for me to evaluate tight end in college, especially, for example, Pac-12 college tight end. Pac-12 and the Big 12 are pretty much just each other. I can't tell the defenses apart anymore. They all play terrible defense. And I'll be very honest, I haven't seen a ton of Dalton. I watched a couple live games, and I liked what I saw. But tight end is probably the hardest position to evaluate right now in offense, because there aren't very many good ones. A lot of them don't make it in the NFL, and they're not elite players. So it's a good class. We'll see what happens when it gets to the NFL, but I don't think tight end is a priority in the draft.
No, I wouldn't call it a priority either. I do think there's going to be some day 3 guys that are going to be really interesting. I don't think Latu goes in the top 100, so he should be there. I'm not sure about Cade Stover. He's from Ohio State. Latu's the guy at Alabama that gets no cred, but he bails out his quarterback all the time, and that's kind of what they need.
Yeah.
Blocks well. I don't think Darnell Washington is a first-round player. Everybody seems to want to think that, but I don't see it happening. So if they wanted to take a true blocking big body guy who is athletic enough to catch passes, like he's basically Demetrius Harris on steroids. And not to say that he's a drug user. I'm not trying to say that. He's beefed up. He's more athletic. He's more powerful. He plays with better leverage. Darnell Washington is a borderline top 100 pick, though. So who knows? They can make a stab at it later. Thank you, Teddy. Appreciate that. Micah, when you guys watch all 22, what are you seeing that the wide receivers aren't getting open consistently? What do you see the reasoning for?
I'll say this again because no offense, Micah, it's not your fault. A lot of people think that the receivers are better than they are at creating separation. I've said it time and time again. Juju Smith-Schuster's best separation creating days are over. Andy Reid schemes him up a lot, and he's really good at body control and catching in the air. You've seen that. The back shoulder throws, exploit those. Whenever you see one-on-one with Juju on the outside, take advantage of it because he's very good at it. MVS has never been that guy. He can't decelerate and break. He just can't do it. It's not his game. And Kadarius Toney's the only one that can create separation. Sky Moore has shown some flashes at times, but doesn't get enough time to do a whole lot. It's tough. Oh, thank you. That was very nice.
So sweet.
So they rely a lot on Andy Reid to scheme them into the right spots. And Yak, I mean, I will say it. Juju Smith-Schuster surprised me in the Yak department this year, very much so. But creating separation, it's not their strength.
Well, I will add this to it too. It's tenacity for me. They don't hand fight as well as they could. They're not aggressive enough against the DB as they could be. They don't take the route as theirs. They don't claim it. They're trying to meander. They run a lot of non-linear routes. They bend around defenses and defenders more than maybe any other team in the league. When you look at the dots, it shows you what the true routes are. And they're not direct. They're not fighting for space. I want to see more hand fighting. I want to see more physicality in the first 5. And I want to see more, I'm going to dare you to stop me. And I think they have that in them. But just like everything else Andy Reid, they play a 20-game season. In his mind, we're playing 20 games. I need you in the last 3. And this is one of them. So maybe we'll start to see that a little bit more. Thank you. Hit the like if you would, Casey. Thanks for reminding me, buddy. I appreciate you. Brendan, thank you for the support. 23-5 throwing more than 40 and 0-3 versus Burrow throwing plus 40. I don't know if that's true, but that sounds pretty good. So if you get him to the point where you take away the run, you force him to throw 40 plus passes, he doesn't do very well.
Okay.
This is a spin on right. This is a spin on an old concept. Make a team one-dimensional. You can take that dimension away. It's a seesaw though, because when you try to take that dimension away, you get too pretty and you're playing 7 guys in coverage, all of a sudden the run does have the ability to open up. So
yeah,
I'm with you. And if that's accurate, and I can't confirm that one, but certainly if you want to take that tack, I can't argue with it. Did we see Andy open up the playbook on Saturday as much as we thought we would? No. Actually, no, that's a lie. I didn't think he'd open it up that much, to tell you the truth. Because it was just it's just flavor on top. It's not in the mix. You're not making a roux. You're just like sprinkling pea grains on the top of the thing. I think the bulk of what they've been saving is for this team. I'm going to say it again. I don't think they're as scared of the Eagles or the 49ers. They blasted the Niners. It was pre-CMC. I will say that. I think they're more nervous, they're more prepared, and they're more directed at the Bengals than anybody in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that the Andy's got some things up his sleeve for this defense. We'll see. Well, I think he does.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Casey, love sales pitches. Thanks, Wes. I'm here to help. you know, we try to make enough money to keep going. That's our goal. Casey, thank you. Ryan, with your background, I believe sports medicine, what is the likelihood that Mahomes can be effective with 1 week's rest? And I want to be very clear about this. I am a physiologist and I'm a strength conditioning coach. I coached a little bit of positions back in college. I am not an athletic trainer or a physician. I'm not sports medicine traditional. I'm like adjacent. But I will tell you, I spent 7 years studying physiology of the human body and how it relates to sport. So I will tell you this. It is all in the individual. The amount of inflammation, the fact that he has pretty loose ligament structures. We saw that from the kneecap, and his recovery there was really fast. I have a tendency to think that his body has a little bit more elastin built into his ligaments, and he's going to be able to recover quicker. The fact that he played on it, even spatted to all, I mean, that was a club on his foot.
Yeah.
But he was able to move around enough. That also tells me that I think he's going to be effective. Is he going to be 100% Mahomes? No. 80% of Mahomes can win this ball game, though, and I think we'll get that.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
Me too. If the Bengals run too high and get up on our receivers' faces in press, what should we do? Because I'm afraid if they run that receivers, they will not get open and Mahomes will not be able to scramble. What do you do, Dan? Where are you attacking?
All right. Well, I mean, this is typically Ryan's go-to thing, but if you see too high, run the ball. Run the ball. Like this has to. They last AFC Championship game, and I know a lot of you hate Clyde. I know a lot of you do. He was getting 6-7 yards of carry in the AFC Championship game last year, and Andy Reid, Mahomes said, "No, we're not going to throw the ball. I mean, we're not going to run the ball." They kept throwing it. I'm hoping that they learned the lesson a little bit.
Yeah.
As my daughter is trying to take all the spotlight by jumping in between the lights here.
She's the ghost of seasons past. It's
Don't
awesome.
stare directly into that light, please.
Yeah, that's bad for you, kid.
Come on,
please protect your eyesight. I will say this too: if they want to get physical, if they think that they can bully the Chiefs receivers, bring it. 3-by-1 slants and sluggos all day long against too high. I will take the middle of the field between the hashes and I will eat you alive, just like Chad Henne did for 98 yards last week. Chad Henne was the prototypical I don't have Patrick's arm kind of drive. That's how you dink and dunk. You attack them with speed. You don't let their pass rushers get there. If you want to try to take away my receivers, fine. I have 3 tight ends I can complete passes on your linebackers on. Not a problem. Let's roll. I will take that all day long and twice on this Sunday. Which should be very, very interesting for me because I'm going to miss the first quarter because of my plane flight. I'm pretty sure. Is Snead going to play? Yes, Gary. I guarantee that he is going to play. He would have been on the injury report today. Andy did not mention him at all. And so without that, ain't no way Snead's. There might be a bigger competitor than Snead on this roster, but his name's Mahomes. I don't know that there's another one. Let's see. Deldrick, thank you. What player, not a big name, do you want to see step up? Ooh, that's a good one, Dan. What do you got?
I don't want to go back to the same well I've been trying because it's just not going to work. I think Colin Saunders is going to be huge in this game, not just because of his upside as a pass rusher, but his ability to be an impact run defender. They want to be efficient running the football. They've been a top 5 efficiency run game this year. They had some trouble with some good defenses down the stretch, but you saw it on Sunday. They dismantled the Bills running the football. They did whatever they wanted to, and they ran the daylights. Whenever they wanted to, they could run it. So Colin Saunders, get in there, get a couple of TFLs, show that speed, get to Joe Burrow a little bit. I want to see him, because we know that Joe's going to try and stay in the pocket. He'll get out from time to time, but he wants to operate quickly from the pocket. If they can match a little bit of physicality on the back end and throw off some timing and get Colin Saunders free, it would be beneficial for Colin Saunders to have his best game as a Chief this weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And hey, if we saw Derek Nottie get to the quarterback
again,
Super Devil Juice, would you be opposed to drafting Christian Gonzalez in the first round, even if we have to trade for him? This is a tough one because Christian Gonzalez is my CB1 currently, but I'm not trading up for him based on what the Chiefs have. Can I see him going in the first? Yes. Could I be happy taking him at 31? Maybe. Not this year,
Yeah.
but I'm not trading up for him.
Here's what I'll say. I haven't done a ton of huge in-depth look, but I've seen a lot of corners in this class. You want to know one thing they have in common? They got speed, they got length. These are some big, we're talking 6 foot plus corners with length. They're everywhere. They're all throughout the draft. They are not going to be trading up for a corner because they just took like 2 of them in the 4th and the 7th round, and they can do it again if they want to.
Now, the only asterisk I will put on that is what they don't have right now is a super twitchy nickel.
Slot guy, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to do that in the first round, though.
No.
I think there are going to be multiple guys on day 2 specifically that can come in there and alleviate Snead having to play on the inside and be a little bit more. Snead's great. He's not the most twitchy in change of direction inside on the lateral type breaking routes. There are guys that you can upgrade that aspect of. So I would lean that direction if we're talking corner.
Yep, I agree.
Mike, Browns owner is cheap. Will they pay Burrow and Chase? Rumors going around that Browns owner wants Burrow to take a discount. I'm sure he wants him to take a discount because he is cheap.
Yeah,
but they'll do it in the end. This is the difference between having a dynastical franchise, even if it's just in the AFC North, for the next 10 years versus being a cellar dweller again. You let Burrow out of that building, you're a fool.
They will lose fans. They will lose money. Owners will get fired. We're talking Burrow is the real deal. He's the real deal. Okay. So they can't let him do anything. They will do the same thing that the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes or Chris Jones. Say, what do you want? I have the checkbook here. You tell me, I will pay. That's what they have to do.
Yeah, it's going to be it. Pono, the injury's tough. I can't tell you what anybody's intent was. Honestly, the league's been all over this about not hitting the quarterbacks low, and he did look like he just kind of stopped. So I don't know if he was just trying to avoid bringing him down and landing on him. I don't know what. I can't speak to that. But Orlando, I don't think he's going to be back unless there's literally no option. They may make a play for a draft tackle, and if they can't get the guy that they want, they might have to franchise tag him and bring him back.
Yep.
If not, they could tag him and trade him.
Yeah, that's possible too. The Bears are a team looking for a tackle. I know that.
And we know a guy.
Well, we know a guy. Look at that. Always helps when you know a guy.
What's your thoughts on Pacheco having a big game against the Bengals? What do you think, Dan? Can he raise his level again?
I think he needs to play at that level. But again, you guys know how I feel about what he does best. He's going to find some ways to churn out zone runs, but the offensive line has to do just as much as he does. If they want him to have a good game and he's going to have a good game, then they all got to come to play. Get him in some space. But yes, I do think he can have a good game against this defense because while it's good, there are ways to exploit it. There are.
Tyler, good point. Thank you for the support, buddy. Chiefs now are +1, meaning they're the underdog. When they started at -3, feels like Mahomes fuel to me. How about you guys? Generally, I agree. I don't think specifically he cares much about the betting lines, but the fact that people doubt him, I think the connotation tied to it, I think maybe something, going on the notebook.
Possibly. I also think that they should be the underdogs in this game. I'll be honest. The Bengals have played much better football over the last 2 months of the season than the Chiefs have. They have. So coming in, and when you look at what they did to the Bills, they dismantled them. They dismantled them. So
True. When you look at head-to-heads.
So they have already lost to the Bengals. The Chiefs lost to the Bills, and they dismantled the Bills. So, I mean, when you look, the Chiefs should be the underdog in this game. And that plays right into their hands.
I like it. Yes,
it plays right into their hands.
And I love it. I mean, honestly, Patrick needs to take the chip from Tom Brady's shoulder and put it right here and carry it in that locker room. And just, the world hates you. They think you suck.
That's
just
what they
use
need.
It all.
I've seen a tweet from Brett Coleman talking about how bad the Chiefs defense is on Willie Gay's Instagram. So they're paying attention.
I like it. I like it a lot. Ikoe? Is that how you say that? I don't know. Do we need to draft any player in our secondary? Yes. I don't think that Juan's going to make it back. So you do need safety depth. And like we talked about before, Good Lord, the dogs are killing stuff upstairs. And we do need a nickel corner to kind of fill that spot, I think, so you can maximize Snead outside and have both Williams and Watson as like Williams and Watson might be the best backup duo corner in the league if that's the way it works out.
Maybe, yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Scott Hankins, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. How can the Chiefs consistently convert on 3rd and inches?
I have it. I have this.
Do it, please.
Get a false start penalty or a delay a game penalty, and then make it 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6.
I like it. Oh, I like it a lot. That is one way. That is absolutely for sure. Oh, good God. Well, I have a couple other options for you, Scott. You can put Mike Burton in and not run the dive. You can run the pitch pass in the backfield. You could just run counter pitch that you saw Tony take forever last week. There are a lot of different options. But here's the thing. You just got to want it and you got to execute.
Yeah.
If you're going to run inside, I think you got to run power and you got to run just basic high school football. Take the man in front of you and block his ass to the ground. Put it done. Just straight power. Not pulls. You don't have to pin everything. Just take your man and beat him.
Yeah, please. Somebody get Andy Heck, get in. Just get in there.
For the love
Just
of God.
do it, please.
Oh, Leon, hope you're well. Thanks, buddy. Do you think that we're going to see the other Mahomes destroying teams from the pocket? The other Mahomes, yes. And I don't separate them that much. I think it's want versus have to. And I think this week he has to stay in the pocket. Most weeks he wants to, but then he's like, I can do it out there. It's fine.
That's the thing. No,
go ahead. I was just about done. I think he can do either effectively.
Yeah, he definitely can. And if you watch the first drive, that was I don't have to do this. He was going to go super nuclear on the Jags defense. He did anything he wanted to. And you want to know what? He made them know that he could do anything he wanted to. And then he got hurt. He was putting 40 up on that defense. I promise you he was.
Dude, and if you saw the post-game celebration, like he was pumped for Henny to just step in there and do it too. Like I'm
yeah.
I agree with you. Like he had his finger on the big red button. St. Paul Chief, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Guys, I know it's not draft season, but and if it was, I know you wouldn't take a running back in the first round. Absolutely not. But if it was, and if Bijan Robinson falls within range, would you be tempted? No. Never. I will never, ever, ever be tempted to take a running back in the first round. I wasn't before. Clyde only confirmed that. It just isn't worth it. I'm sorry. He's a great running back, though, and I really enjoy watching him.
Yeah, I love Bijan.
I just won't do it. And like you can listen to some of the GMs that are out there in media now. Randy Mueller, Rick Spielman thinks I'm crazy that you just have to evaluate it based on the player. And that is true in years of old, but they just don't last anymore. It just doesn't work. There is no Adrian Peterson coming. I don't care who he is. Charbonnet is not Peterson. Even though he's that bigger, bulkier guy that could take on contact, he won't last as long. It just ain't going to happen. So, no. But I tell you what, you might see a couple of guys like Chris Rodriguez in the second or third that might be intriguing. I love the way he runs, but I'm easy to please. Seriously, you don't like it?
I can't stand the guy. He's a plotter, and I just can't stand it.
Oh, I love it. Did Tony play in the Bengals game? No, he did not.
No.
If not, will he be showcased to give them a new look? Yes, he will.
Absolutely.
The question becomes how much is a showcase? He's going to get some of those plays. They have things dialed up for him. It is not a uncommon thing to see he and Patrick at practice just whipping out ideas. And you see what they do with new ideas. So,
yeah, exactly.
Who'll be the dark horse player to make an impact? What do you got?
All right, so I went Colin Saunders with the first one. We'll go to the offensive side on this one. And I think it has to be Noah Gray. Noah Gray has made a big contribution. Just about every game, he makes at least a block or a catch down the field. He made another catch down the field against the Jags in the second half. I will be breaking that play down, by the way. You're going to want to watch that on either tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever it comes out. Promise you're going to want to watch it. It's going to be great. But Noah Gray can have an impact on this game because Travis Kelce, after a 14-catch game, is going to be on everyone's mind, every single person's mind. And Noah Gray has stepped up and stepped up and stepped up this year. I think he can be a dark horse player that has a huge impact on this game, specifically in the passing game, with getting open in some areas where Travis Kelce might take some defensive coverage away.
The biggest ones for me are Chris Jones against the interior offensive line, because I don't care how well they played last week. That line is not Chris Jones. Okay. The Bills don't have a Chris Jones. That's one. It's Hendrickson against Brown. And in the end, it's Bates against Mahomes. A less mobile Patrick has to use his eyes more to manipulate an all-pro on the other side. That's going to be clearly important, because if you're going to get any of those chunk plays, you got to know where Bates is at every second of every play. So those are the ones that I'm watching.
I like it.
Tom, what's the best option to change up coverage to somehow slow down Chase this week? Would you bracket him somehow, or is there a 3-man zone under look? What do you do if you're the DC?
I'm going to the Bill Belichick plan. I'm going to take a safety and my best corner. I'm putting him on Chase, and I'm taking that's the other way around. And my second best corner, putting him on Chase, putting my best guy on T. Higgins. That's what I would do. And I would say, all right, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, you guys can beat us. Please try it. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It is a dedicated double to take him away. And maybe you have to put your 2 on him and travel him, or maybe you just let it line up the way that it lines up. I think they're comfortable either way, but it is about a dedicated safety over the top of him. Just fight the fight the rest of the time. Like I do want to see more dime and more exotic dime. I'd run some double robber, get guys in position to take away those intermediate zones that you force them into by sending a blitzer. I would do all of that, and just the key is not playing the same coverage twice, at least not in a row. Hard to play 67 different coverages. That's not what I'm saying. You just can't give them the same look over and over and expect it to change. Des, thank you, buddy. To both of you personally, it is a season of failure. If we lose Sunday, could it be worth it to just play Henny? I don't think if you play Henny purposefully that you have the firepower to beat him.
No. If he had if he had the arm he used to have, maybe.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He barely made that throw to Kadarius Toney on 3rd down. It barely came out of his hand. So it's not worth it to play Chad Henne if you can get 80% of Mahomes. If we're talking 50% of Mahomes, then yeah, you roll with Chad and see what you can get. Maybe your defense does what it did 2 years ago when he got hurt, or 3 years ago when he got hurt, and you had to figure something out. It's not a failure, in my opinion, if the Chiefs lose on Sunday. Mostly because we knew what this year was before we got here. This was lots of rookies are playing. It's a rebuild on the fly type of season. I'm not going to be happy about it because it's the Bengals, and it'll be 0-4 against the Bengals. And that, I think, is more important than losing in the AFC Championship game. Losing to any team 4 times in a row with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, there's something to be said about that.
That's a big deal. I agree with you completely. You took it out of my mouth. It's not that you didn't make the Super Bowl. Should they lose this, it's that you let the same team beat you 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And exactly. Honestly, a team that is not on paper as talented at the key positions that you have to have, in my opinion. That's the thing, because that sets up the battle forever, and it takes away your confidence for the future. So that's where we're at. Thank you, Des. And thank you, David. I didn't see your query, and unfortunately, this is like half an hour old because I'm so dang slow. So if you could throw your query in the chat again now, I will try to pick that up. Thank you. And thank you for your support as always. Miss Holly, thank you. All-time contributor here, Miss Holly. I do believe you have caught up and passed Gooch as our all-time contributor. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Holly.
Feel-good story. I met Tommy's mom Saturday. That's awesome. And she knew who I was.
That's awesome.
Thanks for always being so sweet and supportive of Tommy. And she couldn't say enough great things about the Chiefs organization. Be proud to be part of the Chiefs.
That's awesome.
Awesome, Holly. Wow. And thank you for gracing us with your presence. You celebrity of note in Kansas City. I like that. Thank you for your support too. And Chris, thank you. Do you think that the team makes another level given past industry, or is it going to be above and beyond given what's at stake? I think they've had another level in them on the defense. I question whether the offensive line can really step their game up much more than what we saw in the second half.
Yeah, I think that they played well in the second half. To me, if they can come out and run the ball a little bit, help them get into a groove, I think that helps them overall be better than they have been this season. But I think that this is a defensive stand game. As good as I think the offense needs to play and will play, the defense needs to come play better than they've ever played in this year. They need to come with a better game plan. They need to light their hair on fire and play like no one is.
Like there's no tomorrow.
Like they're being chased by someone that's going to do something. I don't know, something like a dog. Like a dog's chasing them. Play like your hair's on fire. You know, like Patrick runs away from someone like a dog's chasing them. Like something like that. They have to be. This is it. This is what you've built this team to do, even in a rebuilding year. Play like it. Okay.
I'm with you, and I don't mean to. I'm not trying to disparage the offensive line. They raised their game when Patrick went out, and they protected him. I'm saying like that might be their high gear. There might not be another level to go to. I'm not trying to say or call out the offensive line.
Yeah. I get it.
Holly, I missed the media strike. Team is playing us. Yes, hey, you know. Maybe 2 years ago, after we played, I sent Ian a red hat in red and white. Maybe we should have been wearing it this week. I mean, I'd love to see that on him, just for the record. But I do think like there was the Buffalo game a couple of years ago. Circumstances took it to that point, and he just ran the ball.
Yeah.
Can he do that again? I don't think that will necessarily have to be this. There may be a time. It may be the top of the third quarter. It may be late in the fourth where that is not only applicable, but recommended. And I hope, Tom, that he will listen to you this time.
We'll see.
That's all I can hope. Okay, looks like I found. No, that's not it. William, would love to see Lamont spot used for Fortson. This is the game that I want to see 14 personnel, especially inside the red zone. I love that idea, William. I think that unfortunately limits your special teams. And like we talked at the top of the show, weakening a weakness makes me nervous. Yeah. Jody's great, and I do think he's been underutilized this year again, and I'm not sure why. But particular coverage, unless it's just a re-sign the practice squad and elevate him. In which case, hopefully Jody gets that spot.
I hope it's so.
Kickers are people too. That's pretty good, Tom. Thank you. And thank you, Des. Are you guys going to do a live play-by-play of the game? No. We will not be doing that. We'll be doing our normal live post-game show. At least Dan will. I should be there, but you never know with flights. I'm going to be, unfortunately, I'm going to be in the air most of the day. I will not see the NFC game. I should land right about kickoff in Mobile for the Senior Bowl for the draft prep. So we will do our normal post game. And then we'll see what we do Super Bowl wise, depending on the outcome and who the teams are that are participating. Thank you, Des. She might be live. I have no idea. Throwback Harris, Ryan. Why do y'all think that our defensive draft picks are all good when they're not? I'm so tired of these average players on defense. We need real playmakers at every level. Why do I think that they're good when they're not? I think Harris, you're wrong. I think that's really what it comes down to. And you got to remember, I and every other draft evaluator is evaluating college film, college production, and their core athleticism. Doesn't necessarily mean that everybody makes the jump to the NFL successfully. It also means that some guys who might have all the tools just need the mental side of it and coaching, and they can make a jump. So there's surprises on that side, both. I think you probably have more of a bone to pick with the Veach-Spags combination than my evaluations because they make these decisions purposefully. So just remember, they got the guys they wanted. Why they wanted them is what the debate's about. Oscar, thank you for the support, bud. Bengals have expressed anger for being disrespected. Do you think the Chiefs' revenge motivation will prevent a fourth straight loss? I couldn't care less what the Bengals feel like. Doesn't matter. I hope that they're distracted by it because it had nothing to do with the Chiefs. It's the league and the thing with the Bills and the stuff and the fact they sold tickets to a game that wasn't guaranteed. Fine. Be pissed off. Take that garbage elsewhere.
It doesn't make sense either because they were selling tickets to a Jags Bengals playoff game, AFC Championship game. Like, what are we talking about here?
I honestly do think it can be a distraction for them, so I hope they live it up. I hope they live in their heads. William, do you see Frank running in stride with Kirk on the Watson interception? I did not notice that.
I didn't see that.
I know Kirk was hobbled, but I was impressed. Also, Fred Warner running with CD freaking Lamb. Yes, Fred Warner is a freak, bro.
I did a little breakdown of that entire play. It's not just Fred Warner. The entire defensive scheme was incredible. If you guys want to see that, check it out on Twitter. In Harm's Way 19, it's pretty great.
I like that. Hey, always something. Let's see. Jared, not a question, but I've been talking to Matt Derrick covering Mizzou, and I told him how RGR helped me cover the team. Oh, well, awesome. Congrats, Jared.
Appreciate you, Jared.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, and I'm glad it's a help. And Matt is an incredible resource.
Absolutely.
So, hey, wring every bit of information you can out of him. and congrats. I look forward to hearing more from you, Jared. Can Chad Henne beat the Bengals if he has to go in? If he has to go in, yes. If they're down 21 when he goes in, I don't know.
Like, start to finish, he would need the defense to play their best game. Because I don't believe Chad Henne can beat the Bengals without a stellar effort from the defense.
I agree. That is a very good way to put it. Can he run this game? Can he move the ball? I think he proved that last week. If Patrick he twists his ankle again in Wednesday's practice and can't play, it changes the outcome, I think. I think it keeps them in the game. I don't think that it lets them win the game.
Yep, I'm with you.
This is a funny one. Should the Chiefs take an intentional penalty on 3rd and short so they can get 3rd and long?
Yes, that's what I said. It's what I suggested earlier.
That's why
in the street.
That's why I threw it out there because I just saw it come up. Is it just me or the similarities between Alex and Chad's abilities, game management, and similar plays called for both of them? Yeah, somebody made a cute graphic about Andy pulling out the Alex Smith playbook. That ain't far from the truth. Like 2017, 2018 playbooks got pulled out this week. I guarantee it. Just in case, because you got to have a plan B. And Andy made a point today in his presser with the beat reporters. Hey, they run the same plays. Yes, they do. But you can enhance and you can add some things that Alex used to do that are more adapted to what Chad's really good at. Mm-hmm. So the problem is that they're all on film. So like there are ways to prepare for all of that. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Casey. Tom. How well Pacheco has played, given his draft slot, is he your starter going into 2023 season if you guys are the general manager? Daniel?
So I'm still drafting a running back, and it's going to be more of he's going to have the spot, like the starter role. And then, obviously if they draft a running back and he plays really, really well, I'm more lenient to play the guy who's playing best because running back is a position that anything can change from week to week. And Pacheco's running style does not exactly shield himself from getting hurt. He is a very physical and upright runner, and he does need a 1A or a 1B to be his guy. He's not a 3-down workhorse. That's not his role, and it should never be his role. I think right now is perfect situationally for Isaiah Pacheco.
Pacheco is my starter if I am the GM / head coach. Jerick McKinnon is my third, and I am looking for that guy that can be the one if he has to handle the load to be the 2. And I do think it is a committee from here on out forever and ever. Amen.
Ever and ever and ever.
Right. Thank you, Randy Travis. I miss Randy Travis before he lost his mind. But yeah, I think he's earned that. Just as Clyde has been here and had that deferential treatment, Pacheco eventually took his job. Same thing would be the case for me with Pacheco now. How come we never run the toss play? Risk. That's it. And he doesn't like risk. He'd rather have the quarterback turn and actually throw it with his mechanics and deliver a screen than underhand pitch it somewhere. Although I would argue, Andy, You score all these touchdowns on underhand passes into the core of the offensive line. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Anyway, that's just me. Gary, who the Chiefs draft at running back if they do this year? If they do.
All right, so I'm going to tell you guys who they should draft because
do it.
He's starting to go underrated, and I am very okay with this. I'm hoping people don't talk about it, so don't spread this around.
Say my guy.
Tank Bigsby out of Auburn is a perfect running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Big, physical, has speed. He's got some vision to work with a little bit, but can catch the ball, can pass protect. Like this, I'm a huge fan of Tank Bigsby. Auburn's offensive line is terrible. It's been bad for years, and he just keeps falling because of it. But he's got the makings of a guy like Ryan's talking about who's the 1B. But if he needs to be, he can take the load.
Yeah, I love that idea. Personally, I hope that Kenny McIntosh gets busted for smoking weed or something stupid. I want the Justin Houston effect when a first rounder falls to the third and I can snatch him. Yes, please. But I will say this. I like Deuce Vaughn in the 5th. I know he's undersized. I know no one's going to draft him because he's small. I think he can be something in this offense in a part-time role. I won't invest a top 100 pick in him, but I like the concept. For all you K-Staters, I would like to see it. There. You heard me say something nice about K-State. I'm glad you guys were here for that. Other than that, there's a lot of guys that I think could contribute. It's just cost versus value. And unfortunately, with 2 of the 4 core positions up for grabs this year in defensive end and offensive tackle, you have to address that first and foremost. And Dan's smiling, so I've done something silly, of course.
No, I just realized what time it was.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so, folks, we're going to get to the last few here, and we're going to wrap it up because I have, of course, talked too much. Kyle, what about doing the snow globe with several different players to keep them guessing?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'd like to see just different ideas. Maybe Colin Saunders back there with Kadarius Toney. No, man, I'll just have a little fun. Why not?
Oh, my God.
A little thunder and lightning combination there.
Oh, I'm so for that. Oh, my Lord. Okay, last call for Super Chats, folks. And we're going to roll here with what we got. Toad, thank you. Appreciate you. Travis said that on Pat Mack's show that he still loves coming into work and doesn't plan on retiring anytime soon. How many prime years does he have left? 3. 3's my guess.
3. I got 3.
I can't tell you for certain.
Avery,
I think they visibly tried to manage his snaps this year, and I think that's smart. I think they need to do that more next year and the next year. But Travis, he does a good job of not taking on too many hits, except for Derwin James. Trav, let's avoid that next time. But it's just about injury for me now. So anything you do to alleviate, take it easier on his body, that could turn that into 4, could turn it into 5. So I think 3's the baseline. Thanks, Toad. Thank you, Ben. What is 23 Williams and 35 Watson's development and upside? I feel like Josh was good in camp, jumping to the regular season, didn't fare very well. He's come back on. He's catching up, I think. It actually mirrors where I thought he would go. I think Watson has shown, honestly, his 2 interceptions this year have been dramatic, game-changing plays, which he didn't make at Wazoo.
No.
But he was always around the ball. So, that has been a nice step forward. Upside, I think Williams probably still has the bigger upside. Just physically, he can turn and run better if he can learn. Watson has the ability to be Bashaud Breeland, though, and I'm confident in that. I think Dan probably likes him a little bit more than me, but Avery needs something, and sometimes you just got to talk to him.
I do like Watson a little bit more. I think he's more scheme versatile than I think Williams is.
Fair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to watch it a couple times to make sure that you got it all. But Ben, both of them I feel have upside, topping out to be a second corner. I think they bring back Snead. I think obviously you have McDuffie. I think those are your top 2. And Williams and Watson could become maybe the best duo at 3 and 4 CB in the league because they're both getting valuable here. And I think their top side is there. Can they be number 1s? I don't see that in either of them, but I think they both could grow into a 2.
Yeah, I like it. By the way, just really quickly, there's about 800 people in here. It takes 2 seconds to hit that like button. And if we can get 800 just right now, it takes 2 seconds. It'd be pretty awesome.
Please.
Thank you, guys.
We would appreciate that. Always fighting that battle. And thanks for saying that, Dan, because I always forget that part. Since the NFL found their niche with scheduling games, can we expect Josh Allen or a Joe Burrow matchup moving forward? Yes, you're going to see them early next season, and they're going to do everything they can to set it up so that it is perennial. They're going to throw Herbert in there, and they're going to hope that the next draft class actually has some quarterbacks. We'll see. Avery, hope you're doing good, buddy. Reed's been much better and since talking about Cincinnati last time. Yes, I think he's going to be out to set things straight and have a day. I hope that you're right.
I hope so.
And Justin, if you're watching, you need to. Do you think that they need to double chase? Absolutely, John. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You might not have been here, but we do feel like that. And we're going to end, unless somebody else has thrown one in.
There's a couple more
here. Oh, dang it. Okay. Take this one, please.
All right. Appreciate the super chat and the question. I hopped on late. Sorry if this is a question you covered, but my question is, do you think the Chiefs should go to the screen game with Mahomes Howell? I do think that they're going to do that a little bit more. They're going to have more screens, more, I think, fake screens too. I think especially with the fact that they have concentrated a lot of targets on Kadarius Toney when he's on the field, you can use that to your advantage and try and screen fake to him and get defense flowing one way and hit maybe someone on the back end. I think that's something that you might be looking for as well.
I would like to see that. He is a guy that can draw coverage as he is right now because he's scary.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hara. Appreciate you. Okay, so we are going to get to Tom's. Patrick can still hit the pocket any game and throw for 300 or 400 yards. Yes, he can. We're still okay with pocket Mahomes. All good. Yeah, thanks, guys. Sure. Thank you, Tom. And good-looking family of guitars you have, my friend. Terry, thank you. Is there any good codes for the RGR store? Yes, right now I just put up a new one this afternoon. It is 5AFCCG. That will get you a nice code right now. And a lot of folks are just starting to find the flag hat, the Rogue Nation flag that Dan's wearing. Those are going like hotcakes, and Teespring has stepped up how often they're printing them. So they're every 2 days.
There we go.
So they're starting to not take quite as long to ship out. And for those of you who don't know, Teespring is the store that we still use because some vendors are inexplicable, and that's why we haven't switched yet. But they do run on a schedule. So everybody makes orders, and then for most things, every fourth day they run, they print, they ship. This is now every 2 days, so I think you should get it a little bit quicker too, Terry.
Awesome.
But it is 5AFCCG for 5 AFC championship games. Thank you. And thanks for the support, buddy. Yeah, you like that?
That's pretty good.
Wolfgang, thank you as well. If we can't get a good running back in the draft, should we try to acquire Saquon if not taken? Saquon will probably catch 10, 12 mil a year. What do you think?
I heard he's looking for 16.
I don't think he gets that. Not with his injury history. That's ridiculous.
He's turned down 12.
Has he really? Okay. So I think that takes him completely out of the run to be a chief, Wolfgang. There's just not enough money to go around, especially at that position. But I do think that they're definitely going to look at free agency. They're definitely going to look at UDFA, and they may actually draft a running back. I do think it'll be a day 3, but I expect the Chiefs to move around a good bit. I think they're kind of in that range now where they're comfortable with their roster, and they're okay giving up some draft picks continually to move up from 31 to, and there's only 31 picks here, folks. I'm calling them the Super Bowl champion. The Miami Dolphins lost their picks. There's only 31 picks in the first round. So they could move up 31 to 23 or around where they got McDuffie, which was 21. I think that's something that we're going to see more often. So don't be too concerned if they're in the low 20s or the 30s in the next few years, because I do think they can jump up from there. But that also is a way that they can jump out and pick up a ton of picks on day 3, and that's where the running backs will come in.
Yup.
Awesome. Did I miss any others, Dan?
We got one more here from Canadian Chief. If you think the Chiefs win, hit the thumbs up there. That's a great incentive way to do it. Appreciate you, Canadian Chief.
That is awesome, Canadian. Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys being here. I know it's Monday night, and I know I ran long again. Thank you, Dan, for keeping me on track.
No problem.
As much as you possibly can, because
we both talk, man. We both talk. It doesn't make much difference.
I know you guys don't want no 4-hour Q&A streams from us because I couldn't do it anyway. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all of your support tonight. It's going to be a fun week. If anything news breaks, I will have it for you. Dan's got film. I'm going to try to do a little bit of film breakdown too. We'll see if I can get that done. Gary's working on something special for you, and Seth is already at midweek here with his Chief in the North from today.
Nice.
So make sure you check out all the content on the channel. Game plan will be very specific this week, so please come by and check that out on Friday. Before you end, Nick, that was this afternoon. We talked about it earlier in your stream. Go back and rewatch here when it comes up in a minute. Just got to watch out for the special teams, trying to make sure you can lock that down. We will do previews and we will do predictions on Friday. Please be here for that. Appreciate your time. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.